Well, I think it's safe to say Melbourne was ready for it. Wow. We are used to seeing stadium-sized crowds cheering on Taylor Swift, but this was on another level. A record-breaking number of Swifties, the largest concerts of Taylor Swift's career, and she did it 3 nights in a row as the Eras Tour arrives in Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne, welcome to the Eras Tour!
This is the biggest show that we have done on this tour or any tour.
Melbourne, you are the love of my life.
Hey there, I'm Blake McCoy, recapping the Eras Tour country to country, and we arrive now in Australia, Melbourne, the first of 2 stops there, and this venue is just incredible. This is the Melbourne Cricket Grounds. Taylor is making history by performing here. She's the first female headliner there in 30 years. The last female headliner was Madonna back in 1993. In the last few years, the only other artists to headline there have been Billy Joel and Guns N' Roses for 1 night, and Ed Sheeran did it for 2 nights. The stadium is just so big, it's hard to fill if you're just one act. For some comparison here, most NFL stadiums we see Taylor at have between 50 to 70,000 people. The MCG here had 96,000 people in attendance for each show. Incredible. Largest of Taylor Swift's career, and it's almost hard to put your head around.
Actually completely starstruck. I don't know if you know how many 96,000 is. If we were to start counting, we'd never get there.
Coming up in this video, all 6 surprise songs, including one many didn't think she'd ever perform live. It is my favorite song at the moment. Plus a 3-song mashup. I'll tell you what all 3 of those songs have in common and why Swifties think she is trying to send a coded message. Also a bonus announcement regarding tortured poets. Joe Alwyn should be officially terrified. First, let's run through a few of the highlights of Taylor Swift in Melbourne. A city enchanted, certainly, by her, and her back. I mean, she was starstruck. Taylor Swift was starstruck by the size of the crowd. Isn't that crazy? You don't realize how big this stadium is till you zoom in and see how small the people are. In the words of Zoolander, what is this? A stadium for ants? I'm still not quite sure how this became a thing, but you all love yelling the B word at Taylor Swift, so we'll show you that. Many fans have been pointing out Taylor's performance of vigilante shit has been getting a lot more seductive as she's gone on the tour. Despite 3 sold-out nights at Australia's largest venue and everyone else being told to stay away, thousands still gathered outside. One of the local news agencies down there said tens of thousands. I hesitate to believe that, but I guess nothing's that surprising anymore with Taylor Swift. Now, despite Australia being an English-speaking country, they were able to continue an Eras Tour tradition where we are never getting back together. And they mixed it up each of the 3 nights. Which brings us now to the giving of the 22 hat. 9-year-old Milana Bruno was plucked from her nosebleed seats with mom and sister for the unforgettable moment. They thought they were in trouble at first, her mom says, because the girls were dancing on the chairs. They were so far back they couldn't see. Oh, no. She got a much better view. Lucky girl. Oliver Mills got it night 2. He's a famous TikToker. Said he wouldn't reveal his secrets on how he was selected. Right place, right time, he said. She knew who he was, though. She said, "I love your videos. You're so funny." And then she makes him give him a friendship bracelet. Give me one of those. This is a trade, buddy. A trade. Just like we're supposed to be trading information. How did you get selected, Oliver?
We were just at the right place and the right time, and I'm not one to share secrets or tell stories.
Well, thanks for nothing, Oliver. Enjoy your hat. This cute girl got it on night 3.
Taylor Swiftmania is sweeping Melbourne tonight.
Are you ready for it? Of course you are. Pop icon Taylor Swift is here.
Touching down on Australian soil, Taylor Swift is down under.
Taylor flew into Melbourne under the cover of darkness, arriving around 1 a.m. She was not seen anywhere in Melbourne outside of the stadium venue. She was apparently staying at a $1,600 a night penthouse suite at the Crown Towers Hotel, 12,000 square foot villa in the sky, 2 bedrooms, dining room, living room, sweeping views of the city. It has its own private butler and apparently its own private elevator for her to come and go undetected. Demand to see Taylor in Australia, like the rest of the world, was record-breaking, off the charts. 4 million people signed up for the pre-sale, and by my count, there were only about 600,000 tickets available. That means about 15% of people who wanted tickets were actually able to get them. I made some fun little maps here of Taylor's previous tours, and if you look at them, you can see she's always stopped in a lot more cities before. So she's been building up a fan base in Australia that stretches far and wide for a long time. That means Australia was a country on the move. A lot of people flying in from other places. Brisbane, for example, is the third largest city in Australia. 67 flights were added for Taylor Swift. 67. So many people were going to be gone. Some high schools in Brisbane postponed exams.
So they're working the exams
right.
around the kids who are going to be going to Taylor Swift.
Wouldn't have happened back in my day.
Interesting, isn't it?
Swifties across the country have flown in for the record-breaking show.
The biggest pop star in the world is about to take Australia's biggest stage.
And there is no blank space here at the MCG.
This is a phenomena like we haven't seen for a long, long time. But this has got a mania, a frenzy attached to it.
You can see police officers outside of the venue trading friendship bracelets with Swifties. Love that. Trains were free to get around the city to and from the venue as they became transformed into giant sing-along cars. And one of the landmark stations there was transformed to welcome Swifties. And it's understandable why the city is pulling out the red carpet, because this is a huge economic boost to Melbourne. The Lord Mayor of Melbourne, which is my new favorite title ever, Lord Mayor, says that the economic value is $1.2 billion to the local economy.
From a major events perspective, over an entire year, Tay is going to deliver a third of that over a weekend.
Taylor Swift is so massive that the halo effect around her is also quite huge. You would think that these thousands of people here are waiting for a glimpse of Taylor, right? No. They're waiting for Taylor Sheesh, the Filipino drag performer who became a viral sensation with his mall tour across the Philippines, recreating the Eras tour, meticulously recreating, I might add, with the dance moves and everything, in what he's called the Eras tour. Well, more than 10,000 people in Melbourne who couldn't get tickets to the main show packed into Melbourne's Federation Square for the next best thing. The love they showed him was actually pretty amazing. He said his whole goal in life is just to spread joy and happiness, and that's what he's doing here, clearly. If you watched my Tokyo recap, you'll remember Taylor Sheesh traveled to Tokyo to see the show for the first time in Tokyo. So I did not plan this, but Taylor Sheesh is still with us here in Melbourne. Sabrina Carpenter is back as opener in Melbourne, and in case you haven't been following, she's been customizing the outro to her hit song Nonsense, changing it for every night of the tour with a reference to wherever she is. Which has been so smart because all these moments go viral every single night. She's clearly making the most of her stint as opener. One of my favorite traditions that she started as well is in each of the countries doing a tribute cover song as a tribute to that country. So in Australia, she covered Olivia Newton-John's Hopelessly Devoted to You. Well, in Melbourne, Taylor released an alternate cover for her upcoming album, The Tortured Poets Department, called the Bolter Edition, with an exclusive bonus track called The Bolter.
Look at that cover, it's so tortured, so poetic.
Tortured Poets is an album that I think more than any of my albums that I've ever made, I needed to make it. It was really a lifeline for me, just the things I was going through, the things I was writing about.
Now, Swifties, of course, went into overdrive trying to figure out, what does this mean? What is the Bolter? Some claimed it's a London pub that Joe Alwyn and her went on their first date at. Not true. That's been debunked. That pub didn't open until 2022, apparently. They had been together long before that. Others believe it's referencing this viral moment of them bolting, Joe Alwyn hating the cameras. Or she mentioned it in Australia, and there's an Australian definition to the word bolter that means an outsider. We will find out, but it's almost certain that this album is about Joe Alwyn, and I'm sure he is terrified. All right, that leads us now to the surprise songs, and a surprise song off the bat here with You're Losing Me, one of my favorite songs. I've had it on repeat.
I wouldn't marry me either, pathological people pleaser, only wanted you to see her.
A vault track from Midnight's debut live performance.
Do something big, say something.
Night one on guitar was Red. Night 2, This Is Me Trying from Folklore. And our first 3-song mashup of the Eras Tour. This shocked everybody, okay? What do these songs have in common? Getaway Car, August, and The Other Side of the Door. Yeah, I don't know either. But we have Swiftie detectives online who spend a lot of time looking into this stuff, and they have determined that infidelity is a theme that is referenced in each of these songs. So is Taylor trying to send us a coded message that Joe cheated on her? Which has been referenced before, people have speculated. Night 3, we had another mashup. This is just a 2-song mashup. Come Back, Be Here, and Daylight. And last but definitely not least, Teardrops on My Guitar, performed on piano. A big trend we saw starting here is a lot of the men, a lot of the girl dads and boyfriends were wearing Travis Kelce jerseys. That is the new bro outfit to a Taylor Swift concert. This one, I haven't seen this before. During Love Story, you know, we see all the proposals during Love Story. Well, this boyfriend bought a ticket and didn't tell his girlfriend that he was going to be there and was able to surprise her in the middle of the song to propose. Very cool. I don't have an award to get. You know what? Screw it. We have an award, okay? It's the Gold Star Award for Best Act of Service from a fellow Swiftie. She had to leave the concert early, you know, just a few songs left. She decided to give her bracelet to someone waiting outside. That way they could at least enjoy the last song or two inside. Isn't that so cool? So you get our Gold Star Swiftie Act of Service. I'll come up with a better name, but you get it, girl, because that's amazing. A quick shout out to Taylor here before we go, who I don't think stumbled once in Melbourne. I couldn't find anything. Clean stretch of shows here. It has been a long time coming, she would say. Or most recently, she's had a lot of little mishaps on stage, starting with that heel in Brazil that fell off in Rio. Taylor, I think we're hitting our stride here in Australia. This ovation went on for many minutes as Taylor stood in awe. You know, she's such a good actress. I mean, even if it's genuine, she's just such a good actress about like always, you know, making faces, and she keeps it interesting. She holds our interest somehow, no matter what she's doing.
That is unforgettable.
The only time Taylor was spotted outside of the concert venue in Melbourne was at the airport, leaving, boarding her private jet to head to Sydney. Her umbrella antics, the ridiculousness of which I've talked about before in the Argentina recap, if you want to go back and watch that. No match for the news helicopters flying above. She was wearing a Travis Kelce Super Bowl championship cap from the Kansas City Chiefs. Taylor flew straight to Sydney, landing in the rain, and that is where we pick things up as the Eras Tour continues in Sydney. Before you click away, I'd really appreciate it if you throw this video a like. The Eras Tour now heads to Sydney, Australia. In case you didn't know, there's a big rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne. One of the local papers in Sydney, Cheekily, is that a word? Cheekily? Said after 3 warm-up gigs in Melbourne, Swift lands in Sydney for the main event. We'll see if they can live up to their own hype in Sydney. Don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe so you can follow along as we recap each stop of the Eras Tour. We will see you in Sydney.